talking about turbo tuning, because a car plus a turbo means a happy guy, so I think it's important. Okay, I think many of you know already what turbo tuning is, but for those who don't worry, I'll start explaining what it is. After that I'll talk about the turbo itself, the intercooler, and finally I'll do a short simulation to show you how the whole process works. Okay, what is turbo tuning? Turbo tuning is getting more power out of your engine by putting more air into it. An engine runs on fuel, as you all know, and this fuel contains energy, and this energy is converted to rotational motion, and this is done by burning this fuel. So now you would think getting more power out of your engine is just as simply as getting more fuel into your engine. Unfortunately, that's not as simple as it is, because this fuel must be mixed in a specific way with air. So when you want to get more power out of your engine, you'll have to put more fuel and more air into the engine. And that's what the turbo is for. A turbo is basically divided with two turbine wheels, as you can see right here. This is the inlet turbine wheel, and that's the one driven by the exhaust gases. The compressor wheel sucks in ambient air from outside and pushes this into the engine, and this creates a pressure, and this gets more air into the engine. Of course, this compressor wheel must be driven by something, and as you can see here on the same shaft as the compressor wheel, the turbine wheel is mounted, and this turbine wheel is driven by the exhaust gases that come out of the engine. The exhaust gases rush by, or being forced through the turbo and rush by this turbine wheel, spinning it at a very high RPM of about 280,000 revolutions per minute. And then the compressor wheel also spins at this high RPM, pushing a lot of air into the engine. As you can see, this is a dangerous process, because when more air enters the engine, also more air comes out of the engine. And that means the compressor wheel is spinning even harder, getting even more air into the engine. So this is a process that can get out of control, and then it can damage the engine. To prevent that from happening, the turbo is fitted with a dump valve that opens when the pressure gets too high. After the intercooler then, an intercooler is often mounted between the turbo and the engine, and it cools the air that is pressurized by the turbo, it cools it down. The main part of this is the intercooler, and the main part of it is the metal grill, as you can see right here. The intercooler is mounted at the front of the car, and air generated by driving the car is flowing through here. That's cold air, and the air that comes out of the turbo is relatively warm, and the cool air from driving cools the warm air down, and the cold air now gets a lower density, and because the air has a lower density, more air will fit into the cylinder, and more air means more power, so we want the air to be as cold as possible. After a short simulation then, right here you can see the engine with the pistons, and there has been combustion in two cylinders, and now the exhaust gases are going out of the engine. They are being fed through the turbo, spinning the turbine wheel, as you can see right here, and that is sucking in ambient air from outside. This air is relatively warm, as you can see by the purple color it has, and it's being cooled down inside the intercooler. As you can see now, cool air enters the engine, and more air will fit into the engine, and this creates more power. Now I'd like to show you a short video of how a turbo works.
A turbocharger provides an effective solution to one of the challenges facing many engine makers: how to breathe more air into the combustion chamber and do it efficiently. Here's how a turbocharger works. To get more air into the engine, a turbocharging system starts with an engine's exhaust gas, power that is essentially wasted in non-turbo engines. This exhaust gas is channeled to the turbo, where it spins a turbine
So that's how a turbo works and how an intercooler works. And these two parts create together a turbocharged system. I hope you all understand the basics of turbo tuning now. And if there are any questions, I'd like to hear them, and